3 years. 3 years is how long I waited. 3 years of writing, of planning, of preparing, but never acting. And those 3 years cost me momentum, confidence, and time I can never get back. So let me ask you this. What dream, what change, what breakthrough have you been delaying? Because we all have at least one. And as you're hearing me say this, I know you know what it is. Maybe it's that big move in your business. Maybe it's achieving that weight loss goal. Maybe it's launching your dream passion project. And I know it sounds like a lofty promise, but in today's episode, I'm going to give you the 4 strategic moves that will unlock the courage to fiercely pursue that one thing you've always wanted, but are currently convincing yourself is impossible. Listen, friend, this episode gets personal, and I'm kind of excited about it. So let's get into it. Welcome to the Dad Nation podcast, the place where high-performing men are empowered to reclaim their home, their health, and their happiness while enhancing their career success. You see, in a world full of noise, burnout, and mediocrity, we believe what's missing is courageous and compassionate leadership in the home, because when the dad gets better, the whole family wins. You see, this isn't just a podcast. It's a movement of men who refuse to settle for less in our families, our focus, and our future. We are curse breakers and we are legacy makers. And I'm your host, Mitchell Osman, and I'm honored that you have chosen to invest your most valuable asset, which is your time with me today. Now let's get into it. All right, here we are. It is November 2025 at the time of this recording. I'm not sure when you're listening, but boy, it's a good time to be alive. And if this is the first time you are listening to the Dad Nation podcast, I am personally excited that you're here, because today's going to be a personal one, okay? Because it's the story of how I wasted 3 years of potential waiting for the courage that I already had, all right? And I know that I'm going to be a little vulnerable with you. I'm going to share my story with you, but I know that this is probably going to unearth some things in you as well. Today, we're talking about ownership. Today, we're talking about why most men delay action and how entitlement keeps you stuck, and what it truly means to take responsibility for your life, in your marriage, in your goals, in your mindset, in your fitness, and in your future. And on today's episode, I'm going to give you the 4 steps that I call the ownership code and teach you how to use it to level up in every area of your life. Okay, but first, before we dive in, I want to tell you about something that I've just launched, okay? Because if your marriage is feeling flat, if your marriage is feeling a little disconnected, maybe just a little routine lately, maybe you want more fire, more intimacy, more passion, I'm going to tell you about this tool that I believe is going to help thousands of men reignite the connection in their marriage again. And it's called the Spark Starter Kit. Literally just launched this a couple days ago. It's not some big course or some complex relationship program or a big time commitment. In fact, it's actually quite the opposite. It's fast, it's nimble, it's light, and you can implement it immediately. It's completely plug and play, literally. And here's why I built it, because so many of my clients are high performers who are strapped for time. They don't always have the right words to say. They don't have time to ruminate over a text message to get it right, to perfectly craft the perfect message. And they don't have time to plan out date nights. You know, they need to focus their time and energy on their business. And so if this sounds like you, I built this tool for you. So like I said, if you struggle to find the time and energy to plan date nights, if you find yourself stuck not knowing what to say or how to respond to your wife over text, or maybe you find that the conversation feels a little flat or dull, then I want you to lean in with me for a moment, okay? This Spark Starter Kit is essentially your romance on autopilot for an entire year, okay? Listen, here's what it is. It's 365 Spark text templates. These are text templates that you can copy and paste and personalize so you say the right thing every single time without overthinking. And there are pre-written texts for every situation, whether you want to flirt with her, trigger desire, express gratitude and appreciation, you want to encourage her, appreciate her, or if you need to repair and reconnect, or if you want to sort of look at how to reverse that polarity and step into your masculinity as a man and practice that leadership piece. There are text messages, 365, for all of these situations. There's 52 plug-and-play date night blueprints. One powerful date per week already planned for you, and they're planned in lots of different categories. So for when time is tight, for when you want to go all out, you got that big date energy going, or when you're both tired, you want a night in, or when you both need to reignite the spark. Pre-built for you. All you got to do is read it and follow the instructions. There's 100 spark starter questions. These are conversation prompts that rebuild emotional intimacy fast. This is a big struggle for men. I know this to be true because I see it in all of my clients and I hear from it in all of my followers. And the last thing, which I love, is a 3-part romance reset mini course, which teaches you exactly how to rebuild connection, restore the polarity, and reignite desire in your relationship. And all of this costs less than a bouquet of flowers. That, let's be real, is probably going to die within a week. Okay? You can put it all on autopilot for an entire year, man. I've designed this to be over the top with crazy deliverables. So if you're ready to take the pressure off and bring the spark back, okay, go check it out at sparkstarterkit.com. Okay? You don't have to wait till after the episode. You can hit the show links or hit the link in the show notes below right now, okay? And go get it. Right now, it's, I think, $27. It might change. It's probably the cheapest it's ever going to be. But trust me, friend, this is the easiest way to start leading with intentionality and get that fire back in your relationship. All right, now I got all that excitement out of the way, let's get back into it, okay? I want to talk to you a little bit about my story and the price that I paid for waiting, okay? Because here's the thing. I had the vision. I had the content. I even had the conviction. But I didn't have the courage. You see, I wanted to get into coaching. I wanted to launch a podcast. I wanted to help people. I wanted to share my story. For 3 years, I debated this, and I didn't have the courage. So what I did was I began to write content for 3 years. Concepts, principles, strategies. And everywhere I went, you ask my wife, we'd be on vacation on a plane, and I'd be writing. In hotel business centers, I'd be writing. At cottages and in cabins during weekend getaways in the Rockies, I'd be writing. On vacation in Hawaii, I was writing. And on vacation in Miami, I was writing. Coffee in hand, 5 a.m., up first thing in the morning, writing content. Pouring out my heart into notes, strategies, outlines, and ideas. You see, I had everything I needed, except the guts to hit publish. Now, why? Why didn't I? Because I didn't believe that I could do it. I had the courage to write, but not the courage to execute. What was another reason? Well, I was waiting to feel ready, and I quote. You see, I was waiting for the perfect time. And guess what? 3 years went by. And by the time I finally launched this podcast, I had 3 years of content written out for it. Now, while that helped me, and it did help, certainly, I realized something very painful, though. I had also wasted 3 years of momentum. And here's what I learned. Waiting is the most socially accepted form of self-sabotage. Let me say that again. Waiting is the most socially accepted form of self-sabotage. See, we convince ourselves that waiting is wisdom, that hesitation is maturity, that we just tell ourselves that we're just being strategic. But in reality, most of the time, you know what we're doing? We're hiding. We're hiding. We are protecting our image instead of pursuing our impact. We're afraid. What if we do it and it fails and we get egg on our face? But here's the truth that I learned the hard way. Clarity doesn't come before the movement. Clarity comes because of the movement. You understand what I'm saying? And I would also phrase it this way, that confidence doesn't come before the movement. It comes after the movement. And if you're a longtime listener of the Dad Nation podcast, you would have heard me quote this before, but it comes from one of my favorite coaches. His name is Rich Litvin. And he says, confidence is the result, not the requirement. You see, I was waiting to be confident. I thought that confidence was a requirement to do the thing I wanted to do. So I waited and I waited and I waited. But here's the lesson I learned. You know what? You're never going to feel confident, because how could you be confident in doing something you've literally never done before? It's impossible. So we fall in this trap. We get paralysis by analysis, when in fact, Confidence is the result. Step out, jump off the cliff, not physically, lead out, and then confidence will come with execution. You see, friend, here's the thing. You can't think your way into the next level. You have to walk your way there. And the path gets clearer when your feet start moving. And when I started moving my feet, that's when I realized something powerful. That ownership isn't about control. Ownership is actually about courage. And I think we all, I'm a millennial. So I'm going to speak, I'm an elder millennial, so I feel like I'm a little more wise than maybe some of the younger millennials. But I can speak for the millennials and probably the Gen Zs and say that we have wrestled with the lie of entitlement. And if you're listening to this and you're like, I'm not entitled, well, maybe that's a red flag, all right? Because I want to start with this. And this is a bit of a bold statement, but hear me out. You deserve nothing that you haven't earned. This was one of the hardest things for me to learn, that I deserve nothing that I did not earn, okay? Now, that might sound a bit harsh to some ears, but that's kind of the point. Because here's the thing, comfort is soft, and entitlement is sneaky, okay? Hear me out. You see, we live in a culture that has slowly but consistently conditioned us to expect results without responsibility. Everyone gets a trophy. Everyone deserves to feel good. You do you. You speak your truth. Everyone should be accepted exactly as they are. No change required. No work required. And now I get it. Compassion matters. Dignity matters. But comfort kills calling. And we've been fed the lie that struggle is a problem. That sacrifice is oppression. That discomfort means that something's wrong. But the truth is today, friend, if you haven't heard it already, discomfort is the doorway to growth. Sacrifice is the currency of freedom, okay? And hard things are the training ground for greatness. Hard things are the training ground for greatness. You see, entitlement whispers, you shouldn't have to suffer to succeed. But I can guarantee you this, every man that you admire, every man who walks in strength, who walks in stability and has a strong sense of purpose, every man that you look at is like, man, I wish I had that life. I wish I had that kind of leadership. I wish I had that kind of marriage. I wish I had that kind of body. Every one of those men has gone through suffering. Every one of those men has paid a price. And instead of blaming the world, he embraced the suffering. Because here's the thing, and I want you to hear me say this. Ownership begins when you stop asking, why me? And you start asking, what now? What next? I want to read you something that you might have seen different variations of this online, but I've shared this with my clients, and you may have heard me share this on this podcast at points. But whenever I start feeling entitled, whenever I start feeling like I'm lacking ownership and I need to be courageous, I got to muster something up, I read this, okay? This is called Choose Your Hard. Being your best is hard. Being your worst is hard. Making wise decisions is hard. Making bad decisions is hard. Being in shape is hard. Being overweight is hard. Working a 9-to-5 is hard, but being an entrepreneur is also hard. Working out is hard, but being weak is hard. Starting a business is hard, but working for someone else is hard. Making a lot of money is hard. Making a little bit of money is hard. Having a lot of friends is hard, but having no friends is hard. Having a great marriage is hard, and getting a divorce is hard. Having a lot of things is hard, and having nothing is hard. Here's the thing. Everything is hard. You just get to choose which hard you get to embrace. And perhaps that was always the point. And listen, friend, this doesn't make for great motivational speaking, but the moment you stop looking for easy around every corner is the moment you begin to be more content, more peaceful, and ready to tackle whatever life throws at you. And I know you hear me say this, and you're like, yeah, but it's hard. It's hard to do that. It's hard to embrace the struggle. It's hard to take ownership. Well, let's talk about why. Because I believe there are 3 reasons as to why we struggle to take ownership. Number 1, we wrestle with the fear of failure. We fear looking foolish. You see, we'd rather stay stuck than start small. The humble beginnings. We talk about it, we plan about it, we pray about it, but we never move. Because, hey, the devil we know is better than the devil we don't, right? I love this quote from Virginia Satir, which you've heard me share before. Most people prefer the certainty of misery to the misery of uncertainty. Let me say that again. Most people prefer the certainty of misery versus the misery of uncertainty. They would rather stay in a situation where they're certain they're going to be unhappy than face a not knowing what's around the other corner, because it could get worse. But friend, what if it gets better? The second reason we wrestle with ownership is because of the illusion of time. You see, we tell ourselves, when things slow down, then I'll start. But I love the old Chinese proverb that says the best time to plant an oak tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. Brother, you will never have more time than what you have right now. You'll never have more time than what you have right now. And so we wait and we waste time all day. And we make ourselves busy. Doing this, doing that, doing everything other than the thing we know we should do. But busyness has become the socially acceptable excuse for mediocrity. Here's what happens. And hear me say this. This was me, and sometimes this is me. We all fall into this trap, okay? I'm in it with you, brother. But what happens is we spread ourselves so thin for the sake of busyness that we end up becoming mediocre at everything and truly great at nothing. But the problem is this leads to temporary feelings of accomplishment. We feel good in the moment because we're busy. How are things going, man? Oh, busy. I'm busy. I'm real busy. But over the long term, it leads to frustration and bitterness, because if you're honest with yourself, deep down, if you know that if you really double down on those one or two or three things, you could truly be great. You could truly have a great marriage. You could see that business success. You could lose that 30 pounds. You could really have that devoted prayer life and that closeness with God that you've always wanted. But what do we do instead? We do 100 good things, and we sacrifice the one or two great things. And this is why, as that old adage goes, good is the enemy of great. Good will always be the enemy of great. The third reason we struggle with ownership is the comfort of excuses. You see, excuses let us keep our dignity while avoiding our destiny. Come on, I'm going to say that again. Excuses let us keep our dignity while avoiding our destiny. You see, they sound smart and maybe even spiritual sometimes, but they keep us in the trap of playing small. Just waiting on it. Right? I hear all the time. You know, you guys listening know I'm a person of faith. I spent many years in pastoral ministry as a pastor. A lot of people say, well, I'm waiting on God, just waiting on God. I'm going to pray, waiting on God. Oh, great. Well, yeah, God speaks to you, right? For sure. But God has also given you a brain to think. And He's also given you hands to move. And He's also given you a sound mind and dreams and visions that you can act on yourself. And yeah, sometimes it's important to wait on God, for sure. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes I feel like we're like praying, throwing up prayers, and He's like, just do something, man. I mean, that's one of several excuses we give. But here's the thing. I want you to ask yourself this. Which of these excuses has been keeping you from climbing your next mountain? Be honest with yourself, right? Because, hey, you're not cheating anyone else but yourself. I don't know what the answer is to that, but only you do, right? And only you know if you don't answer it. Because ownership begins with honesty. All right, let's move on. Because you might be listening to this and you're like, maybe I'm not taking ownership. Maybe there are certain areas in my life that I'm not taking ownership. And I know there's going to be some of you who are like certain, oh yeah, that's me, 100%. But if you're here and you're listening and you're wondering, is that me? Here are 3 signs that there's an area of your life that you're not taking ownership, okay? And if you've ever thought any of these 3 things, it's going to be a sign that you've maybe given away your power. Okay, number 1, you get stuck in the blame loop where you say things like, man, if she would just blank, or if he would just blank. If your wife, your boss, Your business partner would just change, things would be fine. But when you outsource responsibility, you also outsource your growth. Number 2 sign, all right, the delay mindset. If you've ever thought, well, once things slow down, I'll blank. But the problem with this, as I've said earlier, is you keep postponing your purpose, waiting for the perfect season, not realizing that perfection is a lie the enemy uses to keep you idle. Remember what I said earlier, confidence is the result, not the requirement. There is no such thing as the perfect time. It does not exist. All right, number 3, and perhaps my personal favorite, what I call the false humility. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. What happens is you confuse uncertainty with inability. You think, I don't know. I don't have the steps. I don't have the information. I don't have the details. I don't have the resources. I don't know what to do. It's just little on me. What am I going to, how can I can't do this on my own. But listen, men don't wait for clarity. They create clarity. All right. You're going to be waiting all day. Clarity will not come. We create clarity by taking action. Listen, it is never, I feel like a broken record. I've said this so much this week, but it has never been more easy to get access to the information and the resources you need to level up in any area. Tony Robbins said this years ago, but it's still true today. Our greatest challenge as a generation is not our lack of resources, but our lack of resourcefulness. You have resources all around you, but do you have the resourcefulness to take advantage of it? I was on a coaching call this week with a client, and we were talking a little bit about this. And I was explaining to him that we need 3 ingredients to see significant change in any area of our lives. And you can write this down if you want. We need information, organization, and implementation. In that order. Information, organization, and implementation. The good news is you already have 2 of the 3 of those things. You literally have all of the information in the universe at your fingertips, aka artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, OpenAI, whatever. Pick your flavor of AI bot at this point. And you can command it to organize it in the best way for consumption, application, execution, all those things. So you've got the organization piece. The last piece is the thing that only you can do, which is implementation. Brother, even this podcast is 2 of the 3 for you. I'm giving you the information. I've used organization to piece it all together in the right sequence for you. And now all you have to do is take care of the implementation. And here's the reality. And I can say this because I work with high performers all the time, all day. I talk with them, I coach them. And the sad reality is many high performers are owners at work, but they're victims at home. Now, there's a lot of reasons for this. But some reasons, are societal, some reasons are cultural, some reasons are because of their upbringing and blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, a lot of these guys end up leading their teams and avoiding leading their family. You see, they run meetings, but they hide from their emotions. So I want us to talk about what happens when you stay there in that rut. Because entitlement doesn't just stall your progress, it actually drains your soul. And I know this because I struggled with it for years. Like I told you, for 3 years, I wrestled with this. So I want to talk about the cost. The cost of entitlement, the cost of not taking ownership. Because when you live entitled, waiting, blaming, hoping, what happens is you become reactive. And that reactivity breeds anxiety, right? Because you start thinking things like, I can't control it. This is just what happens. Things will never change for me. And you start shrinking. And when you start shrinking, you stop trying. And slowly, this combination of a victim mentality, which says the world is out to get you, and B, a sense of entitlement, which says that you deserve something you didn't work for, that combination ends up killing your peace. It erodes your presence, and it suffocates your passion. But ownership does the opposite. Ownership gives the power back to you. Because when you blame, you lose power. But when you own the situation, you gain it. Now, it's that simple. But the challenge is it's not easy. All right. It's not always easy because the hardest thing you'll ever do is to look in the mirror and admit, I'm the reason it's like this. Have you ever done that? I did that. And that was my wake-up call when I looked in the mirror and I said, I am the reason my life looks like this. And that is also probably one of the most powerful things you can say, complete ownership. Because that's the moment you stop being a victim and start becoming a man of vision. Okay, now I want to talk to you about something that I've been workshopping a little bit. And I don't really know what I'm going to call it. But right now I'm calling it the mirror in the mountain. The mirror in the mountain. It's something I've been thinking a lot about. And I'd love for you to lean into it with me. Okay? Because here's the thing. Every man faces two things every single day. The mirror and the mountain. You see, the mirror reveals the truth. The mirror reveals who you really are, not who you pretend to be. That's the thing about mirrors is they don't lie, and we all know it. We can't escape them. So what's your relationship with the mirror? Is it a good one or is it a bad one? Now, the mountain represents your calling. It represents the climb of marriage, of your health, of your career, of your leadership. The mountain represents the challenges that you will decide to face or to back down from. You see, the entitled man avoids the mirror, okay? He avoids looking at himself, facing himself, and he complains about the mountain. He sees his flaws and he hides in the mirror and he shrinks back. When it comes to the mountain, he blames the weather, right? He says things like, there's going to be too much snow on the top, right? He blames the trail. He says, it's too rough. I might injure myself. He blames his equipment. He says, I don't have the right hiking shoes. I don't have the poles. But the man of ownership, he stares into that mirror and he sees his flaws and he says, it's on me. Let's go to work. The man of ownership looks at the mountain and he straps on his gear. He faces the mountain. He starts climbing. One step, one habit, one choice at a time. He silences his mind. He silences his excuses. And he says, there's only one way to the top of this mountain. Because, hey, here's the thing. My wife ain't going to carry me up there. Okay? My boss ain't going to push me up there. My kids aren't going to tow me up there. The only way I get to the top of the mountain is by me. One step after another step after another step. But here's the best part. Okay? You don't have to conquer the mountain today. You just have to take one next step. I want you to hear me say this today. Progress isn't about pace. It's about persistence. Progress isn't about pace. It's about persistence. Do you know what the most prolific and expert mountain climbers all understand about climbing mountains? Is that you have to take tiny steps. Here's the thing. They know that if you take large steps, you'll engage larger muscles, you'll exhaust them so fast, and you actually risk premature fatigue or injury. So what's the secret of climbing the world's tallest mountains? Taking tiny steps. Brother, it's not about your pace. It's about your persistence. Listen, the cavalry isn't coming. But here's more good news. You don't need the cavalry because the conqueror is already inside you. You already have all the resources that you need. You already have all the information, all the organization. All you need to do is take the step. Okay. Now, let's land the plane. All right, I feel like I've been preaching at you for a while. Here's a strategy, okay? Here's what I call the ownership code. 4 practical shifts to take ownership, to step up, and have the courage to fiercely face any challenge or any goal that you might be tempted to back down from. Number 1, stop waiting, start leading. Don't wait for the perfect conditions. Move now. Because here's the thing, leadership begins when you decide to act, not when someone gives you permission. No one's going to give you permission. It only starts when you decide to act. Number 2, act before motivation. Here's the thing, you don't think your way into change. You act your way into clarity. Because here's the thing, progress creates passion, not the other way around. That's the way it goes. Progress creates passion. If you flip them around, you got passion with no progress. And that, my friend, is a pipe dream. Number 3, Understand today that you are the thermostat in so many ways, especially as a man, husband, father. You don't react to your environment like a thermometer. You set the temperature like the thermostat in your home, in your business, in your mindset. If you don't like the atmosphere, change it. Adjust the thermostat. Number 4, taking responsibility is power. Taking ownership of something doesn't necessarily just mean it's your fault, right? It means it's your fight. It means it's on you to start it, right? Get in the fight. Blame keeps you stuck in the story. Blame keeps you stuck in the story. Responsibility gives you access to solutions. Stop blaming. Start taking responsibility. Y'all fired up? I know I am. So here's a challenge, okay? You know me. It's got to be practical. It's got to be tactical. Here's your challenge for today. I want you to journal this tonight or in the morning, whenever you journal. If you're not journaling, start journaling, okay? It's not a girly thing. It's not a weak thing. The most powerful, the most wealthy, the most influential, the strongest leaders in the world journal, because journaling creates clarity, okay? And I want you to write this question down. Where am I waiting for something that only I can fix? Write it down, get brutally honest, and then underneath it, write this phrase: I own this, starting now. Today is when you put a stake in the ground. Make today the day that everything changes. And then take one imperfect action today. Notice what I said? Take an imperfect action today. Because you know what? It's going to be imperfect. It's going to be sloppy. It's going to be messy. Don't wait till next week. Don't wait till when it feels convenient. Don't wait till when it feels right. Do it today. One choice, one rep, one act of ownership at a time. Because the day you stop waiting to be rescued is the day you start seeing things happen that you never thought was possible. Brother, listen, this is the stuff. This is the stuff that changed my life. When I understood these things, this is what gave me the courage to hit publish. This is what gave me the courage to go register my business. This is what gave me the courage to share my story and to share all that I've learned. And what has been the positive result of that? I've been able to help thousands upon thousands of men through the podcast and through my coaching. One singular decision to take ownership and to double down has helped thousands of men across the world, right? Now, I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying it to help you understand you have no idea the ripple effect of the decisions that you could make today or tomorrow or whenever you start, right? I think it should be today and at the latest tomorrow. And what's another decision you can make today? Well, I'll give you one more that you can make. And if you can allow me to be bold for a moment, here's what I think you should do. If this episode has hit home for you, okay, if this has resonated with you, I want you to share it with a buddy who you know would love it. You know that there are men in your life that could use this encouragement. So I would say this. I'll be bold enough to say this. Don't rob other men in your life of the opportunity to change their life by not sending this to them. Because even as I'm saying this to you right now and you're listening, there's someone that's coming to mind. There's a name that's coming to mind. What's their name? I want you, when you finish this episode, I want you to hit share and share it with them. And let's start that ripple effect for you to see some change in your life. And better yet, make it a piece of accountability. Send them the episode and say, hey, I'm taking ownership of this, this, and this. And here, you listen to this, and let's have a conversation about how we are going to take ownership of every area of our lives and step up to make 2026 the year that everything changed for us and our families. Listen, that's it for me, okay? I'm out of time. But listen, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. And until next time, keep showing up, brother. Keep owning your story and keep leading where it matters most. As always, I'm in your corner. We'll see you next week. Thank you for tuning into the Dad Nation podcast today. Listen, if today's conversation challenged you, if it encouraged you or helped you level up in any area of your life, would you do me a favor? Take 60 seconds to rate and review the show on whatever platform you're listening on. This helps us reach more men who need to hear this message. And if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the Dad Nation YouTube channel, where you're going to find full episodes, clips, and exclusive content designed to help you win at home just like you do at work. Remember, your family does not need perfection. They need your presence. Your leadership matters. So keep showing up, keep leveling up, and never forget, when the dad gets better, the whole family wins. We'll see you next time.